calligraphy is silently affecting the world. It's a hidden influencer, and it shapes the way we see things. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, dropped out of college, and he said the only thing that he learned at college was calligraphy. That's it. In your pockets, you have calligraphy. Here, we have calligraphy. Everywhere, we have calligraphy. But we often don't realize it. There's something that Steve Jobs said about calligraphy, which is that science cannot capture the subtleness of calligraphy. Science cannot capture it. Therefore, what I'm talking about, you're going to have to read between the lines, because the messages and the ideas, you have to really think very deeply about them. This age is the age of science, and it's the age of grey matter. Color and form affect us more than we think. If a book has the right typeface, you will read the book. So sometimes you have a fantastic story and a brilliant book and a brilliant author, but the design is so bad that you don't want to read it. Those of you who write reports should think about the fonts that you're using. Don't just use any font. The spaces between the letters that you use are important. So next time you're writing a report, think about how the layout is, because it affects the way people think. My son is here. I won't point him out to you, but I keep telling him about handwriting. And my son is correct that the most important thing is not the handwriting, it's what you write. But unfortunately, you have to use good handwriting, because when you use good handwriting, it has a spiritual effect, a different effect. When you read something in a different script, it means something different. Did you hear me when I said that? When you read something different in a different script, or the same word in a different script, it can have a different meaning. My message to you, the first lesson I've learned, is aesthetics matters. Go home, look at your room. If you don't like the color, if you don't like the layout, please change it. Change the color of your clothes, perhaps even change the color of your hair. It makes a difference. So aesthetics is very important. When I first formally wanted to become a calligrapher, you have to model the master. Everything has a pattern. Learn your craft wherever it is. If you're a scientist, learn your science. Learn it to the extreme. Learn it to the extreme. You really have to learn. And it saves you from backbiting. It saves you from all sorts of horrible things. With the calligraphy master, I once spent the whole morning just doing one line, the whole morning, doing a line again and again and again. I paid for the experience. My takeaway is for you, please, please, please find a master, find a model, and learn from them. If you can't find a person, get a very good book. Now, this is a key one. Our observations are often wrong. In fact, our observations are mostly wrong. What we think about the world is not how the world really is. Now, I'm not talking about interpretation here. I'm not talking about interpretation. I'm talking about the input level. This is one of my first ever pages that I did as a calligrapher. If you look at it, you can see how I'm writing one letter again and again and again and again and again. That's what we do. And my calligraphy master once said to me, this week, I don't want you to write anything. Don't write anything. This week, what I want you to do is, I want you to just look at a word and visualize it and keep looking at it to see how it looks like. Observe it completely. One of the first lessons I learned in calligraphy is that my view of the world is wrong. If I couldn't even see a letter properly, the input was wrong. It didn't matter how much I thought. So the second lesson, please, for you all is observe things again. Look again, because what you're looking at is not what it is. Now, once you've learned a craft and you've learned it well, you become a master. Now, I've never called myself a master, and I never will, because this is the greatest trap of calligraphy, and this is the greatest trap. Once you've learned and you know the model and you know what you're going to do, you have to bring yourself into it. You have to bring something that's created inside you. Now, what you were created with, you've forgotten. I want you to think about what you really liked when you were younger. What was it? What was it? Really go back, because in there's a secret of who you really are. And that's your imperfection. That's your imperfection that you want to bring up. So it's a strange life where you have to forget your imperfection, model, learn something completely, and then you have to bring who you really are. Harmony is a key aspect of calligraphy. Some people say that calligraphy, Arabic calligraphy, is just harmony. When I'm doing a new piece of Arabic calligraphy, the letters fight. The letters fight each other. They don't start with harmony. I can't just use my brain. I have to give it time. In time, harmony does happen, because what I've learned is that the universe behind everything is harmonious. There's harmony. So my other lesson to you is try not to do too much, but do things, and allow the universal forces of harmony in. The sewer. We all have to fall into the sewer. A calligrapher has to show their work, and you have to go outside into the so-called real world, which really isn't the real world. But you have to go outside in the real world, and you have to interact with people. You have to interact with difficult people, and the world is difficult, and it's hard, and it's supposed to be like that, okay? But you have to do it. There's no way around it. This is something that you have to do, and if you don't do this, then your light will not shine. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Inna ma'al usri yusra is an Arabic inscription, a very important inscription that Arabic calligraphers often use, and it means, with hardship there is ease. You cannot have ease without hardship. So you must enter the fray. That's very, very important. When I was young, I was perhaps the only person, when I was 8 years old, with a calligraphy pen and a wooden board. And people were saying, why, you can use a biro, you can use this, you can use that. I'm so old, they didn't really have personal computers when I was young. But timeless traditions don't change. Maybe calligraphy isn't really real either. What's behind words? Every word that you see on a smartphone, every word that you read in a book. Is that true? Are they really true? Thank you.